Gaming with me, Donald Mackerel. Bit of a bonus episode for you. If you hear weird intro music, it's normally that I'm messing about with AI, so that's when you can normally tell it's a bonus episode because it's completely unplanned. So this one is courtesy of Tony Fighter 2, who tagged me in his video about 10 games that you wouldn't sell. And by that, I think he means this sort of game. So the first one is Connect Adventures. That, no matter how hard I try, I cannot sell that. It's absolute no. He doesn't mean that. Obviously, he doesn't mean that. I think he means emotional connection, that sort of thing. Obviously, not just trash, not just absolute bilge that CEX won't even give you a penny for. So yeah, games that I suppose you've got a connection for. I've done a weird one. Obviously, I don't always stick to the rules. But yeah, these are a sort of top 10, I think. But I've bunched them all in together. There's probably going to be more or less than 10 here. But I'm just going to bring them out and show you, and let's see if we can somehow cobble together a top 10. So my first game that I would never, ever sell is probably, it's possibly my most favourite game of all time. But yeah, tell a lie, my most favourite game of all time is Fallout New Vegas. But I would sell that. I'd sell that because you can get that on anything. I wouldn't sell this because it's the last one they ever made. It's perfect to me. It's absolute perfection. It is LMA Manager 2007 on the Xbox 360. So for those that don't know that much about me, I am a basketball nut. I love basketball. I don't really know that much about football, don't really follow it, don't have a team or anything like that. Never really a fan until a friend showed me LMA Manager 2007, and I dabbled with Football Manager. You know, I liked Football Manager because I am quite autistic in the head. I like facts, figures, I like routines, patterns. This was far more up my street. Very, very simplified. You don't need to know about football, get anything out of it. It's got loads of extra fun features, such as you can choose who sponsors you, you know, what name goes on your shirt. You can build your own stadium, you can design your own manager, but it's a simplified football management game, and to me it is absolutely fantastic. It's perfection. You can play it on your own, you can play it 2-player. I think you used to be able to play online, I think. I obviously never did that, I never had the capability, but yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I also do own it on the PS2 and I've got the PC version, but that one I cannot play anymore as it doesn't work with my current PC. So yeah, first game would be LMA Manager 2007. The next game, a bit of a weird reason for this. This was way back when I was a teenager. So I'm in my 40s now, but it's way back when I was a teenager. I picked up possibly the greatest PlayStation 2 game I have ever played. It's still one of the ones that I go back to. I just remember sinking so many hours into this. It's Way of the Samurai 2, and now I was quite a lonely boy. I didn't really have that many friends. Computer games were my friends. No, they were genuine. I used to just sit there for hours, locked away in my room playing games. Way of the Samurai 2 was one of the ones I couldn't get away from, mainly because there's so many different routes you can take. You can be a good character or a bad character or anywhere in between. There's so many, unlike me, so many different shades of grey, so many different things to unlock, so many different endings to find. And it was probably the first time, I know it's been around before that, but this was the first time I'd experienced that sort of game. So yeah, Way of the Samurai 2 for number 2. Never ever sell that. I don't even know what it's worth. That's how you know if a game is never going to get sold, because you don't check the price of it. Way of the Samurai 2. The third game, now this one was originally in a big box. I've lost the big box, so I've just put it into a blank DVD case, so please do excuse the state of what I'm about to show you. But it was the first proper PC RPG that I got into. I remember trying the Ultima series, what was it called, Ultima Online. I remember trying playing that back in the day on the PC, didn't really like it. I prefer just solo RPGs. So this one was awesome for me. It is Icewind Dale 2. Yeah, so with this, it's got, as I can say, I've lost the outer box, but it's got everything else. It's got the soundtrack, it's got both discs. Perfect. Anybody who hasn't played it, a squad game, so you get like 6 people in your party. You can give them all different skills, you can give them all, again, same as Way of the Samurai, different mentalities. They can be good, they can be bad, be chaotic. There's so many different ways and things, ways to play the game. You can make your party up of all paladins, things like that. I always used to try and go for the evil route, which I don't know if that says a lot about me or not, but yeah, first time I'd ever experienced that, and what a game, absolutely loved it. And it's also one of the games where I found out, again, halfway through playing it, I got to a really tricky bit I couldn't get through, thought about quitting, thought about starting again, because I thought this party just isn't good enough. And I looked, and when you do start again, you can import your party from your later game. So I invented a man called Captain Bongo Hands. He was just a man who fought with no armour, completely barehanded. Obviously, for the beginning of the game, I just let the other 5 just harangue everything, and he sat at the back and just sort of picked up the dregs. When I restarted again, Captain Bongo Hands was a machine. I had 5 freshies who had never done anything before, and just this machine who went around ploughing goblins with his hands. Yeah, brilliant. Icewind Dale 2. I love that game. And it's still so easy to play on modern PCs. It still works, so great. Next one, bit of a twofer. These games, they're all right. They're not bad games, but it's the memory that keeps these games for me. It's Leisure Suit Larry Magna Cum Laude Uncut for the original Xbox. You've probably seen this in a recent video of mine, and also Battle vs Chess. Both the games. Sorry, that one's for the Xbox 360. This one's for the original Xbox. Both the games I bought from Poland. I know this is going to annoy a few of you because I keep talking about it. I bought from Poland with my partner when we went on holiday together, and that's the main thing, is they've both got lovely memories attached to them, lovely holidays that have stuck in my head. I love it over there. So just looking at the front cover of this, I remember the nighttime scene in Gdansk. I remember the music just sort of filling the streets. I remember the lovely meals that we went out for. The game, just all right, it's nothing special, but just that's what that evokes for me. The second one, Battle vs Chess, I do quite like this. I think this is like the German copy, I'm not sure. Yeah, it is. USK AB 6 freigegeben, whatever the hell that means. But yeah, this one, I bought this in Poland for our first holiday together, mine and my partner's first ever holiday. So that was a lovely little one. We went to her hometown and we visited her family, and it was quite nice, sort of me being accepted by them, because then Polish people, although lovely, they're not really fans of when, especially in small towns like my partner, they're not really fans of an Englishman coming over and stealing their women. With me, I don't know what it was, they really took to me, and yeah, they're still nice to me now. So yeah, those two, just for the Polish holidays. So yeah, a bit of a weird one there. Moving on to the next game now, I'm going to get sentimental and dippy here. So when I split up with a long-term partner of mine, I was in a bad way. I was in a really bad way. I didn't have much left. I mean, like, for anybody who knows it, she made me sell all of my collection, and then still messed me over, you know, completely did a job on me. I only had a PS3 at the time. I couldn't concentrate, couldn't play PS3. There was too much going on in my head. So I went out and I bought a Nintendo Wii, and I rebought one of my favourite ever games. It used to calm me down whenever I was having a bad time. I used to play this game, it used to calm me down, so I went out and bought it again. And it's Endless Ocean. So this made my best Wii games, and that's probably why, to be fair. I mean, it is a good game anyway, but it's probably why it made it. But yeah, when I was going through a really bad time, this saved me. Just spending hour after hour swimming around in the sea, stroking fish, even the shark bit, which, this is how fragile I was back then. Nothing can hurt you, but even the sight of a shark in the sea used to make me keg myself. But I learned to sort of like just go, no, it's just a game, just play it, stroke the sharks, get back to normal. Yeah, and that was the first time that I actually completed this game as well, so that was brilliant. Also, with this when my partner was going through a bad time. Both her parents sadly passed away a few years ago, and when that happened, she was beside herself. She didn't really know what to do, so I used to force her. I know it sounds horrible. I used to force her to play this. I was like, put it on, get the Wiimote out, stroke the fish. The difference was amazing, and like, you know, on day 2 she was like, can I play the Wii game? Like, of course you can play the blooming Wii game. So yeah, I used to let her play that, and it'd calm her right down as well. So Endless Ocean, lovely game, good memories. Yeah, definitely never getting rid of that one. And again, no idea how much any of these are worth. This one, I don't know what it's worth now. I know I paid 15 quid for it, but I'm going to talk about her again. It's the first game I ever played with my girlfriend. You can play 2-player on this. Most people just think it's a 1-player game. You can play 2-player. First game I ever played with my girlfriend. It's also one of my favourite games anyway. It's for the original Xbox. It's Stubbs the Zombie. Yeah, was it Rebel Without a Pulse? I never remember that, but I always call it Rebel Without a Cause. Rebel Without a Pulse. Literally one of my favourite games of all time. So this again should be in 10 games I don't want to sell, regardless of emotional connection. But that one, simply because I met her, I wasn't really sure. It's like, do you reckon she's going to like my weird geeky hobbies? And you know, when you tell somebody, oh, I'm into gaming, they're like, oh god, he likes Fortnite or something like that. Never played it, never played Fortnite, not into all that sort of fast-paced stuff. So you're like, how do I show her that I like a zombie game where you fart and poison people, you pull your head off and throw it, you know, you've got an arm that runs off and crawls up people and can control them. How do I show that sort of thing? Sod it. Connected the Xbox up, hooked up 2 control pads. I was like, this is what I like. Do you like it too? She loved it. So I was like, yes, this is for me. This is brilliant. So yeah, that was a nice one. Stubbs the Zombie. Brilliant. Now, we are delving further into my history. So I couldn't separate these. I didn't know which one to go with. There's a few in here that are absolute dross, and I didn't particularly like them. But these were my first sort of foray into gaming. I would say my first character that I fell in love with. I had a ZX Spectrum, so obviously it's going to be Dizzy the Egg. So we've got the Dizzy collection there. All these are complete, by the way, the Dizzy collection. We've got Dizzy's Excellent Adventures, and the one that I love the most. Everybody hated this. I thought it was great. Crystal Kingdom Dizzy. Crystal Kingdom Dizzy. Wow, brilliant. So we'll go through what we've got in these. We've got the original, can I hold it up? The original Dizzy game right there. I had that first on an individual cassette. Obviously, like, the individual ones have all been sold now, but I had the individual cassette. It was a good game, really good. Quite tricky for a little kid, to be fair. So again, I was tiny. I was like literally first first computer I ever had. The original Dizzy game. It was quite tricky for me. Never managed to kill Zax. Managed to get to Zax. That's the bad guy right at the end, the wizard. Never managed to kill him. So would I go back to it now? Probably not. I don't want to ruin the nostalgia. Next game along there was Fast Food Dizzy, which was, would you call it like a Pac-Man clone, I guess? Would you call it a Pac-Man clone? Probably. It's quite weird as well. You had like, I think the chickens wanted to be eaten by you, but the other things would run away, if I remember rightly. Not the best game in the world, to be honest, but I had it, and again, I sold it because I got this. Fantasy World Dizzy, brilliant game, absolutely fantastic game. I think that was the third one in the series, if I remember rightly. I think the first Dizzy was number 1. Fantasy World Dizzy was number 3. Fast Food was just like an aside. Fantasy World Dizzy was absolutely brilliant. I'm in love that one. Treasure Island Dizzy, I think that was the second one. Treasure Island Dizzy. That was a good game, really good game. Again, didn't complete that one. I did complete Fantasy World. Didn't complete Treasure Island Dizzy, but again, I wouldn't go back to it just because from what I remember, I loved it. Again, quite hard for me. Magic Land Dizzy, completed that one. Brilliant game again. Quite similar to Fantasy World Dizzy, to be fair. Again, both different from, and Treasure Island Dizzy, both different from the original Dizzy in that you can pick things up. It's more of like an adventure game, whereas the first one was just a platformer. So yeah, that's the first load of Dizzies. The second load, now this was, to me, awful. If anybody liked it, fair play to you. Dizzy Panic, which I can't remember the name of the game. Was it Snacks or I don't know. It's like things falling down and you have to get them in a certain order and they have to land on the right thing. Can't remember what it was called, but yeah, really bad game for me. According to this, Crash Magazine gave it 80%. I think someone gave them 80 quid just to give them that score. Right, next one, Dizzy Down the Rapids. Hated by a lot of people. Alright, nothing special. Just again, another little arcade game. Next one, great game. Dizzy, Prince of the Yoke-Folk. Back onto your fantasy and magic land Dizzy sort of thing. That type of game. Great game. We're going to keep going. Spellbound Dizzy, another absolutely cracking, proper Dizzy game. Brilliant game. Dizzy Quick Snacks. Now, I'm not sure, is that the one? Actually, let's have a look at the back. Dizzy Quick Snacks. I can't quite remember that one. Yeah, I don't think I ever played it, but I know it wasn't in the main series. It's just like another little puzzle game. But yeah, I don't think I ever played Dizzy Quick Snacks, but it looks, I don't know. Is it like Oh Mummy? If anybody remembers that, I'm not sure. On to the final one. Yeah, Crystal Kingdom Dizzy. My favourite one wasn't made by the Oliver twins, if I remember rightly. I think it's still, all of them have got the Codemasters name to them, but I think the last few, the Oliver twins had nothing to do with. I think they had a bit of a falling out with Codemasters. Really good. This one, yeah, it's still got the original price on it of £10. Lemonette, that still hasn't fallen off yet. But £10 back in the day for me was a stupid amount of money. Like I was playing £1, maybe £2 for my games. One of these big bundles might cost me a fiver, you know what I mean? So paying £10 for one game, I remember buying that brand new. I saved up to get it. That's probably why I've got such amazing memories of it. But yeah, really good game. So that was my next choice. Moving on to, again, my childhood, my first, I would class it as an RPG. Many people wouldn't. Many people just say it's a board game that they turned into a computer game. My first RPG I ever played, and I played the tabletop version of this. I liked the tabletop version of it. It was on the ZX Spectrum, yet again, is HeroQuest. So, yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant game. Sort of like an isometric viewpoint. I think this is like the precursor to Warhammer. Is it Age of Sigmas, whatever they call it? But yeah, the Warhammer, this was what became the same as, I've got the ones that became like 40,000 as well. I've got, is it Space Crusade? I've still got both the board games. I've still got HeroQuest and I've got Space Crusade, I think it's called. Tucked away somewhere. I had to get into the loft just to get these down. But HeroQuest, I have brilliant memories of when I was a little kid. My neighbour was a geek as well. So there'd be me, my brother, him, and his brother. Me, my brother, him, and his brother, all playing HeroQuest. One of us would have to be the sort of the dungeon master sort of dude who would sit there with a big board in front of him, and you've got the plans as to what would happen, and you could make your own up as well. So it was a bit sort of Dungeons and Dragons-y. So you can make your own up if you wanted to, but there was so many little plans you could go through, and you knew exactly where all the enemies were, but the people playing didn't. The people playing, you had the choice of like a barbarian, a wizard, I think, was it a rogue as well? Maybe a dwarf, I'm not too sure. I think it was, yeah, I think you got a dwarf as well. But absolutely fantastic. I was always the wizard. I loved the wizard. This was brilliant in that the lad next door wasn't sort of like next door neighbour's kid, it was their grandkid. So we only come round every other weekend when they came to visit their parents, if you know what I mean, and they brought their kids. So yeah, it was only every other weekend I got to play on HeroQuest, and that was theirs as well. I went out and bought a copy much later in life. This, for the ZX Spectrum, meant that if you wanted to, multiple people could play on one ZX Spectrum. So me and one of my friends would sit down and play on the ZX Spectrum, and the Dungeon Master was the ZX Spectrum, so nobody had to take up the admittedly quite boring role back in the day. Yeah, HeroQuest, absolutely adore that, and that is not going anywhere. Oh look, it's starting to fall apart. Oh no, HeroQuest, what a blooming brilliant game. Right, now this proper sentimental. I've talked about this in a previous video. It is, would I call it a game? It's more of a program, more like sort of software, but again, another board game. It was the first ever game that I owned on the first ever console. The first ever console was a ZX Spectrum 48K. I was mainly playing these ones on the Plus 2A. But yeah, ZX Spectrum 48K, and it came with this game, which is the only reason why I've kept it. It's stayed with me literally since one of my earliest memories is this game, playing it with my mum and dad. It's Scrabble for the ZX Spectrum. I know that seems absolutely insane. That game, it's probably why I wasn't an idiot, but I wasn't the smartest kid. This helped me come along at school so much. Even the teachers would be like, what the heck how's he coming out with these words? And it's just Scrabble. I'd sit there and I'd play against the computer, and the computer would use a word. I'd be like, that's not a word. I'd get the dictionary out, I'd check it, and I'd go, oh, it is a word. And then, eventually my vocabulary got a little bit better. Sadly now my brain's a bit addled. I've lost a lot of my intellect. So, but this back in the day was fantastic. I also remember being at school, as in like your little school. I remember being at a little school, and we were reading, there used to be books called Roger Red Hat and Billy Blue Hat and Jennifer Yellow Hat, and it was like little kids books. I remember the teacher tried to get me to read this like Jennifer Yellow Hat book or something. I went, oh, I've read it. She said, oh, don't be silly. I said, no, I've read it, I've already read it. She said, oh, what about this then? And it was like Spot the Dog or something. I was like, read that. It was the banana books was another one, so she tried giving me one of those. I was like, read it, and she's like, oh, you're lying now. And I remember a lad who sort of sat next to me went, he's not lying, miss, he's read everything. And she said, well, what do you mean? And I've read everything. And she punished me for reading and liking words. She's like, well, if that's the case, then you'll have to go and sit in the big boys library with the big boys. And I was like, okay. So she put me in a car. I know, criminal nowadays. Put me in a car, drove me to the upper school, and was like, well, if that's what you if that's what you think you're at, where you don't have to read little boys' books anymore, you can read this. And she just picked something off the shelf and gave it to me. It was The Hobbit. So again, where my love of RPGs came from. So I sat there. She obviously brought me back to the classroom. She didn't leave me at the other school. Brought me back to the classroom, and while everybody else was reading their Jennifer Yellow Hats and Roger Red Hats and Spot the Dogs and the banana books, I was reading The Hobbit, and I was loving it. I was loving every single second, and I could just feel her burning with rage. But the best bit was, so we had a teacher-student day, if you know what I mean, where the mums and dads have to come in and they talk about it. She said, I was a show-off and a big head, and I was blah blah blah. I was saying, I've read all the books. And my mum and dad were like, well, he probably has. He reads everything at home. So I always remember that when I did really, really well on my English exams at the end of the year, she took credit for it. Took credit for me doing really well at reading. Had nothing to do with her. She was a terrible bloody teacher. It's why everybody else was still reading Roger Red Hat. It was all just that. That is what did it for me. So yeah, my first ever computer game, and probably the reason why I own my own house, why I've got a good job, why I've got a lovely life, all because of a little bit of education, thanks to Scrabble. Yeah, so even though at the time, my dad, when he told me he'd got me Scrabble, I thought he was saying Scrambler. I thought it was like something to do with motorbikes. So I was like, oh, a little kid, like, oh, I'm gonna have a go on motorbikes, brilliant. When he got me that, I was so disappointed. Best thing he ever did. Best thing he ever did was got me Scrabble. Fantastic. And of course, the final game, the one that you all know I'm going to put in there. Can't do without it. It is possibly the finest game of all time. Definitely never selling it, and I don't care what it's worth. It could be worth £1 million. It's staying with me. It is Carol Vorderman's Sudoku. So yeah, that's my little collection. Hope you've enjoyed that choice. I am going to tag 2 people. Not really sure who to tag though. I might tag Wayne. I might tag Wayne Gill, because he's on about making his own channel. So if he wants to do this, what a brilliant way to get into YouTube. If he doesn't want to do it, that's fine. And the other one would be NGP. NGP, you said you want to start your own channel as well, so I'm going to give you both a little bit of impetus. Not impotence, again, I've used that joke before, but I'll use it again. I'm going to give you both impotence to to start your YouTube channels. It doesn't have to be anything massive. You don't have to continue. You don't even have to do this video if you don't want to. You know, just watch this. Watch Tony Fighter 2, and I will credit him for this as well. I'll put all of you in the blurb and all that rubbish. But hopefully you guys just try it. Just put a video out there. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But you never know what you like until you try it. You saw that with Alien Isolation and me the other day. Anyway, hope you enjoyed what you've seen. This has been Donald Mackle with Donald Mackle Gaming. See you all again soon. Cheers, everybody.